We're diving back into the log home renovation, a little bit deeper than expected, but for the best. We're going to be working with a clean slate. Follow along. I'm going to mask up. Audio's going to do what it's going to do, but, you know, safety third. Gotta get these temporary walkways out first. Running out of things to stand on. Okay, this. Guys, got to remember that he took all the floor out because you get ripping in and out of here and to the basement. I'll give you a tiny hint why we're taking all this out. Not so good. So the way it was built is there was a plate that sat on this ledge and a rim joist and then your floor joist, which is fine. But the moisture from the concrete brought it out all the ends of the floor joist and the rim joist. So we start from new. Oh, all right. We're working around a lot of stuff here on this half. This half, totally empty. All the electrical pulled back. Most of it's dead. Gonna be starting from brand new. But this side, wastewater, which I've got hung from the ceiling. There is plumbing still that runs to the old hot water tank. That's got to stay functional until the end of the week. And then of course the electrical and all the stuff for the well, which again, functional. So we're just gonna tie everything up. I'm gonna tie it to the ceiling. And we'll just work around it. Gotta be careful. This one's rotten. Look at all this stuff. Drain line, cold, hot water, telephone line, satellite dish cables, electrical. One up there. Oh, and a heat vent that's still running. That's warm. What do you think? This looks like something a pretend carpenter would whip up, don't you? Holy smokes. Are we doing construction or are we gold mining here? It's hard to tell. Old crawl space. Strapping young man. I don't know who that might have been. Shoveled all that dirt himself this morning, making her nice and level, except for the corner over where the, can you see? That blue thing? The pressure tank. Plumbers, they're coming to tomorrow, they better be. But we thought we'd take it upon ourselves to get all the drain rock in and let the dust settle, you know, so the plumber and the electrician, they're not working in a dust storm tomorrow. Basically, we got our deluxe. There's the pile of gravel. It's getting whistled over with the Bobcat and down the chute into a great big pile. Now, of course, for any of you fellas, ladies and gals that are familiar with construction, the downside of that giant pile is somehow it's got to disperse itself throughout. But, you know, a little bit of Wheaties and, you know, maybe click the brain off for a second. We'll get it done. Man, it feels good that pile of gravel's gone. Real good. All right, it worked out to 7 yards of drain rock that I shoveled. No problem. We got a little pile left there. Perimeter drain's got to go in. Sump is got to be dug. I don't know where the video's going to stop, but somewhere in there. And we have some highly qualified plumbers here today, starting their half of the job. All gonna go. I can't wait till all this crap is gone. This all goes, that we said goes, and I'll go show you on the other side where it's gonna go. And it's gonna be top shelf because it's all gonna be brand new. So there's nothing for anybody to worry about at that point. Just peace of mind for, you know, the next 40 years. What the heck is that? Oh, it's a sump pump. It's a sump pump. Does that mean it's sump pump day? I'll tell you what, we're not rocking wireless mic. We have the media mod only because, well, my operations manager forgot to plug in the camera gear. Man, you're a one-man band. You're lucky if you remember to put your pants on. So, a little bit emptier. We got nothing. Gone. Water tank, water. Look at this. All cleaned up. The electrician man was here. Deleted all that pesky wiring that apparently was attached to not too much. All gone. Cleaned up. A lot of items addressed. They had a lot of good ideas. And the plumbers, they did a slick job. So everything moved into the basement. Hot water tank is looking lovely down there. So we are at, see these channels shoveled? I've been doing a lot of shoveling lately. You got to be good at something. We got all these channels shoveled in here to put in the drain pipes for drainage into a sump. So the way it's going to work and the purpose of the drain pipes, the drain rock, and the sump pump is that this crawl space used to just be dirt before. So if water came in, well, it just became part of the family. It hung out until it found somewhere to go or dried up. They didn't have a lot of problems, but they have once or twice in the past. Tiny issue. So this is how it works. Picture it like a sandwich. Top layer, concrete. Why? Because it's hard, it's nice to work on, you get a nice flat clean surface, and it's tidy. Underneath of that, we're gonna have our layer of rocks. Now drain rock are big, bulky rock. I think this is like 2 inch and a half, 2 inch washed drain rock. So basically there's no dirt in it, so water can just travel through it. So now the water has somewhere to go underneath the concrete if it were to find its way in here. So no water on top. We've capped it with a lid of concrete. Drain rock underneath, so water, if it does get in here, it's got somewhere to hang out and go. Well, you need to have it. You need to give it somewhere to go. So what better place than into that chunks of white pipe over there. So we run a network of pipe that is perforated, meaning it has holes in it. But essentially, that's all going to run to a sump pump that's in the floor. So in the event that water pressure builds up from the old Mother Earth, into the pipe, into the pump, out of the house. Done deal. Now, in addition to, whoop, almost broke an ankle there. In addition to the drain pipe, we're also going to put in this side somewhere a floor drain that comes up through the concrete, because this is, we were spitballing. If the only part of the house that's going to have water in it, plumbed water, is over here where the new kitchen's going to go. Kitchen has water, right? Water lines, etc. You got your fridge, your ice maker, all these kind of goodies. Well, if you were to have a leak, it's going to happen on that side of the house because it's the only place there's water lines. It's going to drain. I don't know if you know this about water. It runs downhill. Well, downhill is the crawl space. And if you just got a big lid of concrete, well, it's really got nowhere else to go. I mean, you could take the lid off the sump pump, but what if you're not home? So the floor drain is plumbed into the sump as well, so that way if you sprung a leak in the water, well, the water's got somewhere to go and you can just rest easy. All automatic, rock and roll. So that's the plan. First up, a little more using this tool, the old shovella. All right, shoveling done. I didn't expose you to it. I don't know how much shoveling you can watch, but the sump tank, you dig a pit for the sump tank and you want the lid of the sump to be, it's got to be lower than the finished height of the concrete because you want to be able to slope things into it. How far? Well, that depends on your setup and the thickness of the concrete and the style of building, etc. But this is about an inch lower than the finished height of the floor. And then we've just roughly laid out all our pipe and fittings. Why? It's easier to do a layout of your fittings to make sure that your material takeoff was correct, rather than just trying to start at one end and start gluing stuff together and realize you've made a mistake. So lay it out rough, put the fittings and the T's and the 90s on where you think they need to go. And, there'll be less disappointment. Anyways, well, let's glue something together. Oh, and I should mention too, in case someone's like, oh, you skipped a step. I went around, I have a laser set up in the corner, and I checked the grade again. It had already been checked once, but in this case, obviously, if a pipe has a downward slope, awesome, it goes downhill. In the case of a crawl space drainage, even if you got the pipes that are level in spots, you're dealing with a 3-inch diameter pipe. It is going to fill that pipe with water, and that water is going to go to the sump. It's impossible for it not to. Because, say in the case of this crawl space, if someone told you, oh, you need to get like a 1/4 of an inch per foot, well, holy smokes. That, the bottom of that sump tank could be maybe sticking out the other side of the world. So level's okay. The water will find a way to get in there, trust me. Ooh, try not to kick all the rocks in the hole. If you're doing sewer pipe, you can keep, if you got to cut the bell ends off a sewer pipe, don't just chuck them. You can hang on to them for the job, and you can use it as a coupling if you get in a jam. That works good. Oh, I might not be man enough to open that. Ooh. Oh, I got her. Thought I was gonna have to get a pair of pliers. Don't be shy with the glue. Never hurt nobody. You always hold your fitting on the pipe for a second before you let go, because the pressure of the glue will try and push the footing off. Yeah, I'm not using primer, but let's keep in mind that this pipe is full of holes, right? That's kind of the point of it. So I got the laser on, I went around, double checked the elevations of all the pipe, so we're running downhill, and bam, sump tank, about an inch lower than the finished height of the concrete, and then you can see perimeter drain all around the outside. I ran one down the middle to tie it together, And then we're gonna have a floor drain over there, kind of in between the kitchen and the main space, because the water line does run down the wall. And there's the waste line there too. So you never know. Any leak that happens in that side of the house would be captured in that drain and fed into the sump and pumped. And we put the sump pump here because there is a ventilation hole there. The crawl space has to be, the crawl space needs ventilation, which we're gonna have to do the calc on, because we may have to chop ourselves another hole or two in the concrete to get a little airflow in here, or moisture builds up and rotten wood prevails. We don't want to end up in the same boat we started with, so time to bury it.
There was one last rotten board that I pondered leaving, which obviously can't leave it. For some reason, the inset of 2x4 on edge in here, and the subfloor was nailed to it. It wasn't supporting anything, so I don't really know what the intention of it was originally 40 years ago, but as you can see here, rotten. Not as rotten as the rest, but once rot starts into wood, it doesn't stop.
Alrighty, first layer of plastic down. We're gonna call her there. She's a long project, so we gotta cut the video somewhere. But that will keep moisture at bay, and that will keep moisture outside. There'll be other adventures in between. We'll catch you on the next one.